What is up, everybody, and welcome back today to another episode of Cast and Reel Wisconsin. I'm going to be going through doing a small series about my experiences on Lake Michigan, the different seasons that we experience, and today's episode we're specifically going to be talking about the spring coho season, or the Coho Run, that we see on the western shoreline of Lake Michigan. All right, so one of the main questions that a lot of people have is, what is the Coho Run? Usually starts last week of April and usually goes through about into the third week of May. And really all it is every single year, the main forage in the lake, the alewives, they have their spawning cycle during this time. So all the alewives that are out in the deep areas of the lake, they all move into the western shoreline in that shallow 10 to 30 feet of water, and they're gonna be spawning. And the Coho Run is where these coho move shallow to chase these alewives. This run does start usually about the same time every year. Usually we start to see alewives pushing shoreward in the last week of April. It's pretty temperature dependent, so last year we had a small little batch of alewives start to spawn pretty early because we did have a really warm spring. This spring has been pretty warm so far, so once again we might see a little bit of an earlier run. The southern ports will start to have the action first. The warming trend on the lake tends to be the southern tip warms up the fastest, and the warm water kind of travels north. And with that warm water traveling, the alewives and thus the coho follow. If you watch reports and that, you will see that Waukegan will be really hot, and then it'll be Kenosha, and then Racine, and then usually it'll end in towards Milwaukee. So that's a little bit of background, kind of what the Coho Run is. So now let's kind of get into a little bit on how we are going to fish it. Usually, from my experience, there's going to be two major baits that you're going to be using. The main one is going to be the coho dodger and fly. You're going to see almost every single boat outfitted with these during the Coho Run. Just a small 6-inch dodger, and then 12 to 15 inches behind that going to be your small peanut fly. People are going to be running these usually in the top 10 feet of the water column, and during peak run, this is going to be your main lure for catching. A lot of times out of a 12 rod spread, I'll probably be running 9 of these. What I've also found to be really good during the Coho Run, and it tends to be earlier in the run, kind of as the run transitions into the later stages, I find that the coho dodger and fly works a lot better. But small size 7 Berkeley flicker minnows tend to work absolutely fantastic for these fish. 60 to 80 feet behind the board, they just usually hammer them. If you have enough people in the boat and you want to vary your spread a little bit, a lot of times too, little green spoons will also work really effective for these early spring cohos. Now when you're on the water, there's several key things that you want to look for where you're going to fish and how you're going to fish. Usually you'll find that the alewives during this time of year are in that 15 to 30 feet of water. Now when you see them come on your graph, there's a few different ways that they look. I find that if you're seeing kind of spread out alewife marks on your graph, they're in the area but they're not being chased. A lot of the times the best fishing that you'll find is when you get into really tightly packed schools of alewives. And from my understanding, what this signifies is that those alewives are being clumped together and pushed together by chasing coho. And usually this is when, during the spring coho run, people always get their triples, doubles, quadruples, that sort of thing. You'll troll through these tightly packed schools of alewives, and as your lures are leaving that bait school, the coho just snap and they hit everything. Alrighty, everybody. That is kind of going to be my basic overview for the spring coho run. I know I'm missing quite a few things. I do want to leave this video kind of as an open forum. So if any of you guys do have any questions, I want you to go ahead and leave a comment down below the video. I'll be responding to all the comments. So if you guys want to know lure choices, certain dates on when you think the fish will be there, anything like that, leave them in the comments below. Hope you guys appreciated the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.